Your next comedian is one of my absolute favorites in Chicago. He just had his debut special come out. It's free on YouTube. It's already got hundreds of thousands of views in like a fucking month. And it's because he's hysterical. So start clap right now. Make some noise. Start clap right now for Diya Basrai, everybody.
Hey, how are you doing? This is rad. I think I did. So this is the 2-year anniversary. I think I did one of the first few shows, and I've been kind of seeing this show kind of build a following and kind of blow up, and I haven't been back since. So I was like very interested in what would be different coming back sort of 2 years later, and the only difference is there's a guy who opens the door to the basement, and the lady checking tickets has a gun. That's the only different thing. This is clearly what Joe thinks success is. It's just like all staff has got to carry guns. This is how we made it. It's like every villain in like an Ocean's movie. It's like all the employees got to carry guns because people might be trying to steal plants or cause ruckus. I'm a scientist. That's my day job. Any other scientists here? A lot of dumb motherfuckers. No, that's crazy to say. I'm a scientist, but you should believe science. But the more I spend time in science, the more I realize that a lot of scientists, they care a little bit more about progress than they maybe do about helping people. Like, my boss is this 6-year-old Romanian man, and once I asked him, what made you want to become a scientist? And I thought he'd something inspirational. I thought he'd be like, oh, I want to help cure cancer, I want to solve and fix disease. But instead he went, why do I want to become a scientist? Well, in Romania, the neighborhood kids used to bully me because I liked math. And ever since then, I vowed to prove their God isn't real. And he's like, how did you get into science? I was like, Bill Nye? The science guy? But I think that's at the heart of it. Science has never been about helping people. Science has always been about proving people wrong. That's why it was invented. And science was at its best when it was just proving the church wrong. That's when the best discoveries were made. When the church would come out and say things like the earth is only 6,000 years old and homosexuality is unnatural. And science would come back so fast. We found these fossils that date back 60 million years of these brontosauruses, and they were having gay sex in the fossil the entire time. We actually had a guy, we have an artist recreation, the two brontosauruses just sucking each other off before the meteorite came down. That's drawn in the top right corner. That's why we think they have such long necks. That's what the science says, actually. That's all science was about, just trying to prove the church. Like the Pope would be like, all the celestial bodies orbit around Earth, and Copernicus was like, well, I did the math, and we actually all orbit around the sun, and I also found out that elephants have gay sex in the wild, and many species of shrews, and there's lesbian seagulls. But I think that's the thing, though, is that, like, I don't know, people ask me, it's like, do I get mad when people deny, do I get mad when people deny the vaccine or deny climate change? It's like, no, the best science has always been denied when it came out. Evolution was pushed back on when it came out. Germ theory was denied. The male G-spot is still being actively denied, and you guys are wrong. This is what I'm working on, you have to go deeper. That's what I'm thinking about a lot. I just think that the people who are denying science, they're denying the wrong science. Even the science are, they're backwards. They're not even denying the, like, science is making such cool sci-fi shit that they haven't even realized. Like, no one's denying test tube babies. Isn't it crazy that you can do that? It's such an amazing technology. My nephew, he's one of the first test tube babies, and you can barely tell. No, a healthy, happy baby. He sleeps with a Bunsen burner at night. But other than that, he's pretty... he's walking and talking. I'm just saying that is convincing to someone's like that. They don't come out so good. Just a little, I don't know, I don't eat frozen veggies because they aren't nutritious enough, but apparently the babies come out with the same moral compass as the rest of us. I'm just saying, if I, every time like someone, Republican goes on TV and says like, oh, the climate change is a hoax, I just turn it off. But if a Republican ever went on TV and was like, we got to keep our babies out of tubes and in hardworking American women, I'd be like, oh, okay. Let me just answer. I'm a woman-born. Where my woman-borns at? Where the woman-borns don't get shit in this country, and when the AI comes, who will the tubers choose? Any test tube babies here right now? I'll Blade Runner this room right now. I'll find you. See who's looking left to right too rhythmically. He's blinking in multiples of 3. I'm trying to get off my. I don't know. I feel like I'm online too much and I'm on social media. And it's making my brain kind of buzzy. Here's what I was trying to do. I was like, here's my big idea. I was like, I want to, instead of using my phone in the morning, I'm gonna do the crossword instead. Anyone do crosswords? Anyone doing the mini? I do them every morning and it makes me so mad. Every morning I wake up furious. I hate when you think it's a word and it ends up being a phrase. It just, like, the clue will be like, this is a way to prevent pregnancy. And I'll be like, contraceptive. And I'll hit show answer. And I'll be like, oh, come in her mouth. Of course, I should have. I just thought the C matched up and all that. I feel like it is the first time that, actually, I want to do a new joke. Okay, so ignore the crossword stuff. This is a new guy. I'm scared of my parents dying. It's I'm skipping the setup to that too. I don't think I can handle it. Like my parents. I never had to deal with much death in my life. So I've only had a dad die and a grandmother die. Murder suicide. It was a fucking crazy night. Yeah, the emotional support dog had enough one day. I'm scared of my parents dying. I don't know. I'm close to them. They've always had like kind of like a weird marriage. I'm half Vietnamese, half Indian. My mom's Vietnamese and my dad's Indian. But it's a little weird because my mom's Catholic and my dad's Muslim. So I get into tons of these small fights because my mom believes that Jesus is like the son of God, like God's son, and my dad doesn't love my mom, and it's tense out. And I just know that, like, I don't know, I'm close to my parents, and I'm gonna be broken when they die, but the tricky part is I don't like talking to them right now. They say exclusively annoying things. They know I do this stand-up thing, but they never talk to me. They just sent, my mom, this is the closest, she would send me Jeff Dunham clips. And just like podcast appearances, not even his stand-up. And that's the thing, my parents have only sort of been useful to talk to when things go, my parents are good in times of crisis. My dad gives good advice when things go wrong. But whenever things are normal, he is insufferable. And the sad part is, I just know when my dad dies, that's the only time I'm going to want to talk to my dad. Not because I'll like miss him, but because my dad would give great advice about how to deal with your dad dying. Oh, okay. It just feels like, and also like when my mom goes, it feels like her last words will be like the first question she asked about me. She'll be like, what do you want to do about stand-up? And I'll be like, no, don't die now. Okay, I end wheat. That's how I do it. Thanks, everybody.
Diya Basrai, everybody, let him hear it. We live stream our shows on YouTube, and my parents are watching right now, so I'm gonna look at the camera. I'm gonna be so sad when you guys die. And I love talking to you on the phone. My mom called me on the way here. She's like, "You ready for the show?" And I was like, "Shut the fuck up." No, it was great. I love you guys. Give it up for my parents. And one more time for Diya Basrai, everybody. Here we go.